Hey guys, welcome to TV Movie Mistress, your one-stop shop for all things entertainment. As always, I'm your host, Mo.
I'm Carly.
And I'm Jawan.
And we are back to talk about the penultimate episode of Interview with the Vampire Season 2. Sorry, I'm stepping on the man's job and now currently out of order. But let's start. Jawan, go. Speak.
Yes. Please let the man speak. This is Season 2, Episode 7, entitled I Could Not Prevent It. Yes, you could, you lying ass motherfucker.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Lying bitch ass motherfucker. Like, I hate him, but we'll save that for a bit.
But it was written by Kevin Conrad Hanna and Rylan Jones, of course, created by Anne Rice, the universe, and it was directed by Emma Freeman. Now, I'm going to say that a lot of these writers and directors here have all been fairly, I mean, they've done stuff, and it's been a lot of, mostly TV stuff, a lot of things that I probably have not seen or even, thought about watching. But I would say the batch of writers and directors that they have gotten for this series so far has been excellent. So I just want to give a shout out to the behind the scenes crew who do the creative work of this show. They have knocked it out of the park, even all down to the cinematography and the set design and the costuming. It is really a sight to behold, and more people should be watching it. I'll let you do the announcement.
Okay, and the announcement being that the show has finally been renewed for season 3.
Yeah, took them long enough.
Ray just drawing it out, like, right. Come on, guys! But we are happy to hear it's been renewed. Hopefully, a lot of the same writers, well, hopefully all of the writers will be back, and many of the same directors that we've enjoyed in the past 2 seasons who know the characters will be back. I didn't need another heartbreak this year with the show I like being canceled, so I'm excited,
I was actually kind of worried therefore.
Really?
I was kind of, just because, you think about, I come from a time of old television where if you didn't get like the numbers, then your show was subject to be canceled. And I don't think that this series gets as many eyes on it, even though it's considered prestige. I mean, but I think I do appreciate AMC for seeing the vision of this.
But also, like, the fans have been rabid. We have been rabid,
right? And it's definitely a lot. And I know that it definitely get a lot of engagement. We talk about it every week, and I see like the tweets or the X's, whatever they call them now, and so it does get a lot of fan engagement.
Nobody's calling them X's. Get out of here.
But it does get a lot of engagement for it. So definitely I really appreciate it.
I feel like we should definitely be number one Interview with the Vampire podcast on like all the platforms, because
are there any other ones?
There are, but like I'm just gonna say we're number one. I have no figures and facts to back that up, but
just know inherently.
I just absolutely know in my heart we're the number one Interview with the Vampire podcast out there. They don't even have their own official podcast covering the show, so I'm gonna give us that spot. You're the non-official. Exactly. Like, come on, AMC, let's do this deal. We'll do some co-sponsorships and continue to be the rabid fans who love Interview with the Vampire. Easy. But so luckily it's been renewed. I'm not going to give any spoilers like I did with the announcement that came out, but a little bit of look, I was just like copy paste press release, yay. But in season 3, just a little bit of a peek. This is a little bit of the plot for you guys listening. Resentful of the perfunctory portrayal in the trashy bestseller Interview with the Vampire Lestat sets his story straight in a way only the vampire Lestat can. So by starting a band and going on tour, which
crazy,
insane.
Yeah, but it's based on the second book.
I want to talk about that some since the cat is already out of the bag. I actually do want to talk about that some more at the end.
Okay, we can do that. Absolutely. Remember. So I'm just happy we got it renewed and we didn't have to wait all through summer to find out. So on that note, since we're all happy, let's jump into one of the most depressing episodes of 2 seasons.
Depressing?
Was this not sad?
No,
yes.
Well, you said depressing?
Yes. This was so sad on all fronts. It had me feeling very like complexly emotional, which no.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
It had me in my feelings. Afterwards, I felt real tender.
Yeah.
After I watched it the first time, I felt real tender. I was like, I'm a little in my feelings. I need a moment.
I was like, I didn't ask for all of this, but here we are. So we opened the episode back up with the kidnapping of Louis, Claudia, and Madeleine by Santiago. And
from inside of the head
bag, which they couldn't again just like rip out. Like I don't. Is it magical bag? Like, I don't know.
They were being held. I think that's why. Like
maybe. I like the camera work in here too. The camera work was very reminiscent of Breaking Bad, where they do the up close, directing your face shots, where a character was either like in some type of despair, distress, or running. So I really like that close up camera angle.
Yeah, no, absolutely, great visual trickery with that, and it's the beginning of the trial we've all been waiting for, and we see the coven jump them, beat them up, and torture them.
Yeah.
And then like did that Professor Xavier thing where they just fuck with your mind whenever you get too out of line, because they have this play written down to the second.
Pretty much. Insane. Now I don't want to skip over the trauma that they started to inflict on Claudia even here, where they put her in the pit with the rats, because they only beat Louis up.
Like, what the fuck was that about? Like, why would they even do that?
It's funny because it's kind of like, I would think that they would want to torture Louis more than Claudia, but it seemed like that's not true.
Yeah, the woman has to bear the sin, I guess.
No, but also I think like since she was a troop member and she took those vows and broke them and all that stuff, maybe.
Now I feel like that should get her a lighter punishment. Like
I should get her a worse punishment.
How about everybody's ass just need to get kicked in this show? But she's already being tortured. She's being thrown in the rat pit, which gross. And we have Santiago. I love Santiago as a character. I hate Santiago as well. But he is essentially.
You watch your damn mouth. You watch your.
She was going to sentence me to death. But he's presiding over this case that he has brought to the audience while also presenting evidence in the form of all the journals Claudia has written over the years that she should not have written.
But she should definitely not have written, not just because of this situation, but still, it wasn't smart.
Like, she didn't know the rules though, right? Like, true. I honestly want to go back to season 1 and watch the season over and just write down every law Louis and Claudia broke that not let them break.
Spoiler alert, I have them.
Really?
Yeah, they broke like 4 out of the 5.
They broke 4 out of 5 laws.
Yeah.
Which one didn't they break?
Number 2, I think.
Number 2, no, they broke law 2. Law 2 was Claudia. They broke. They didn't. Technically, they broke all 5. Honestly,
between the 2 of them, they broke all 5.
They broke all 5.
Individually, they got 4 each.
They hit a home run with it. Yeah. Like, I was just this explains why Lestat was just like, let's just stay here in New Orleans and go nowhere else. But he did a really bad job in like showing the severity if they broke.
Let's go through it real quick.
Okay, go for it.
So Law 1, and this is according to the show, is different in the book, but it's according to the show. Law 1, each coven must have a leader, and only he might order the working of the dark trick upon a mortal. Will you abide? Louis technically broke Law 1. Mm-hmm. If you believe what happened, if you believe Lestat. Law 2.
Well, also he broke it because he made Madeleine, so even if we don't believe Lestat, he still did it with Madeleine.
Yeah, well, that's true too. Law 2, the dark gifts must never be given to the crippled, the maimed, or to children. Louis, technically, you can say Louis broke that one, or you can say Lestat broke that. Well, Lestat says he broke that one. Law 3, no vampire must commit to writing the history of the vampires, which Claudia broke.
Yes.
Law 4 is no vampire shall reveal his true nature to a mortal or let that mortal live. Technically, they both broke it, but it turned her into a vampire.
Yeah.
Right.
And Law 5, no vampire may ever destroy another vampire except that the coven master has the power of life and death over all his flock, and it is his obligation to finally seek the destruction of all who have broken these laws, which both Louis and Claudia did. I would argue Lestat technically did. But yeah. So but they've all broken, but between the two of them, they've broken all 5 laws. I will say there is an argument to be made that Lestat broke 1, 2, 3, and 4 and attempted to break 5.
Okay. Well, I would say this. Lestat definitely knowingly broke all the rules, and Claudia and Louis did not. So fuck this bullshit. So Santiago is presiding over the court case. He's, the audience think this is a show. They're all like, ooh, and some of them, you got the groupies there and their little vampire makeup. But
now, I could not tell those two people in front, those two people that he kept cutting to at the very front. Those were just groupies. Those weren't vampires.
Yeah,
no, those are like the hardcore fans that always come to the shows dressed up and stuff.
Okay, because I was wondering, like, where do they get colored contacts like that in 1940?
Maybe that's just their eyes. I'm sure. I'll Google what year the color. I mean, I'm sure there's a way to do it.
Yeah.
There's probably before actual contacts, people were doing dumb shit.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Plastic.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were like putting some kind of like chemical substance in their eye that would dilute it, because that's what people did. But yeah, Santiago is presiding over this. He's got Claudia's journals as evidence, and then we see our trio with their tendons cut, which was disgusting.
That was cool.
Like,
that was fucked up.
All of the above.
Cool.
Because they wouldn't heal.
Fucked up. Yeah.
Because of course they also starved them, so they couldn't. So they're not going to heal.
Yeah, not going to heal by the time the show ends. Yeah.
Oh, it looked so painful. Like, I did not like looking at that at all. And then, of course, we get the most epic of all epic moments. Lestat is back. And the way this man walked up on that stage from the dressing room, threw off his blazer, waist snatch, stride strong.
I was so happy. I was like, he walked on stage like he was Taylor Swift. Like, I was just
it was so ready. Hair flowing in the wind like Farrah Fawcett. Please. Really? How that made me love him more. What do you mean hate him?
I was like, he's so beautiful.
He's a god. He's a god.
He's everything.
Look, he's a beautiful man. I mean, I'm not saying he's not a beautiful man.
Yes.
But he doesn't. But it doesn't move me in that way.
Okay.
I'm looking at the character, and he's a bitch, and he's a fuck nigga.
They're all fuck niggas. What's your point?
I'm just saying. That's why I don't like him.
Okay, he's also beautiful. He's a beautiful fuck nigga.
But him being beautiful doesn't move me. It moves y'all. It doesn't move me.
Okay, great. It moves us. Me and Carly will do the moving, whatever. But yes, Lestat is back, and I am happy. And the trial can finally begin because Lestat is here to get justice for the attempted murder on his body.
Mm-hmm.
And we go back to the present and thank God for Daniel, because he's like, I'm on. So, he was like,
once again, Daniel's the greatest.
I love him. He says what we're thinking. So he's like, so your new boyfriend sold you out to your old boyfriend, or was it something like that? But
yes, it is established that I sold him out.
Yes, he's like.
Fine, it was me. Yes, that's right.
I'm the bitch, okay?
It's so wild to me, though, because, like, I can't believe we started this season with them lovey-dovey on the couch. Like, everything was fun in their life. Yeah, the love of my life. And it's not even like Louis' mind. Like, we kept thinking, maybe Louis doesn't even remember the trial. But no, Louis remembers the trial. He was doing that lovey-dovey shit in episode 1.
Yeah, which honestly was very, very odd. But I think in this episode, I think he started to remember certain details that may have that happened. I think he knew the outline of the cliff notes, so I think he actually started to remember details. And you know how? Let me put it to you this way. And
Okay.
you know how? And again, this is one thing I'm like, Carl, I ain't trying to get in your business, but you know how your spouse may, they may have done something to you, or and you may not, you may like, okay, well, I'm mad about it today. I'm okay at the end of the week, but that motherfucker may look the wrong way. I remember that. I remember that shit you did. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that to me.
I could see that. I could see that. It's like some sibling shit where like you're fine, and then like years later you're fighting over like somebody took your Barbie doll. It's just yeah. But yeah, still it's fuck 'em on the 24 hours. But you have Lestat though. He starts recounting sort of like the beginning of. Well, it starts with him and like meeting Nicholas and how after Nicholas died and the way he kind of insinuates that like Nicholas was pushed by his dad or pushed to his dad, possibly with the helping hand from Armand.
I believe it. Yep.
Right?
I believe it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Mo. Before you continue with the Lestat, whatever his story, why do you guys think he came here to do this?
Petty.
You want to go first, Joanne?
Petty.
Okay.
I think it's as simple as that. It's just him wanting to be petty and wanting to. I don't think he's really out for vengeance. I think it was just out of petty curiosity to see Louis again, to see Claudia again, and maybe try to just maybe tell his side of the story. But I don't think that he was there for revenge. I don't think he really. He wasn't going to prevent it, which he obviously could have. But I don't think that he was. But I think it was mostly he enjoyed the theatricality of it all, and whatever happened.
I mean, I would say when I was watching it, I was thinking he was definitely there for the petty, but I was like, well, maybe he's also there to find a way to save Louis. Those two things kept bouncing in my head back and forth. I think it's definitely some kind of morbid curiosity he has, but also somebody pointed something out about Louis. So I'm not going to act like I noticed this because I have terrible vision. But, the symbolism of the outfit he has on, pinstripes, almost like a prisoner. And someone also pointed out his wrist was dark, almost like shackles had been on it or something. So the second I definitely have to confirm for myself, but the pinstripe analogy made sense to me. Whether or not Santiago most likely used trickery to get him there. Because we know he was glamorizing his man of business to get him there.
Do you think that that Santiago has that power though? Has that kind of power because he's the youngest of them all?
But we don't know how. I mean,
we don't know how old he is, but we know that he's the youngest of everyone.
Yeah.
I think that he was made probably around the same time that Louis. That Louis was, because earlier in the episode we saw a newspaper clipping and it was talking about an actor and it was like in the 1920s and it was talking about him. So I'm gonna say he was probably turned either around there or like not or shortly after.
Yeah.
I have another question for you all because I missed maybe, and I could have went back and watched, but I want to know from y'all. So we get this Nicholas story where Nicholas was in the coven. Lestat was in love with him, Nicholas, and Nicholas, killed himself or was killed by Armand. Was Armand and Lestat hooking up? Were they lovers? Or something?
You don't remember that episode where they first Lestat first met Armand, where like Nicholas was still human there. And then they killed him and forced Lestat to turn him. And then Lestat and Armand started hooking up because that's when we saw them like at the opera together. And Nicholas was like playing his little violin or whatever, looking mad
he was a
jealous.
Vampire.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Nicholas was the one that Armand kidnapped. Nicholas was the one that Armand kidnapped.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then Nicholas broke. I mean, then Lestat definitely broke Law 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I guess when you turn the person, this again is dumb. This is a dumb fucking trial. Because then if you turn the person, it doesn't matter. They're turned. They're no longer human. Like you're gonna like charge me for crimes when the person is no longer human?
No, but it has to be sanctioned by the Matrix.
By the Coven Master. Okay.
Right.
Okay, well that's true. Okay, yeah. I see.
But that's some other dumb shit. You don't know every fucking Coven Master on Earth. Like there's some dumb shit. But got me so mad. Okay, so yes, Lestat recounts what happened after Nicholas' death, and like I have missed Lestat waxing soliloquy over everything and nothing. I can only imagine like Louis telling him to take out the trash, and he's like, "How doth you dare tell me to like just do it, Lestat?" But he like that's how he feels to me. But yeah, he tells how like after Nicholas' death, he basically buried himself for a century.
Yeah.
He buried himself. He said he buried himself for 100 years, which I guess we can believe that. I mean,
I believe that because Lestat is dramatic as fuck. He's a very emotional guy.
Yes.
And he's very dramatic. So I could believe that he was like so brokenhearted.
Yeah.
That like
I'm just
that's what happened.
Here.
Now
and mourn.
You know what I mean? And like mourn and kind of put himself through that torture in a way to kind of like kind of like self-flagellation in a way, you know?
Yeah. Total shout out to Anne Rice for writing the most emotional MFer in these streets. Just so all the feelings. He's got all the feelings.
I find that men are very emotional.
Oh my God,
so emotional. Like none of this was very surprising to me at all. I was like, all this feels right.
You better
like, I heard nothing. You guys feelings.
So much.
So shocker. Right. But yeah, he tells them how he basically like didn't take any blood. He just remained under like the soil for that close century, and he finally came out. And from there, he decided to go to America, which is where he meets
New Orleans.
Where he meets Louis. So
he came out of the ground in 1908, and then he went to what was it? What did he call New Orleans?
The bastard.
No, like Paris's humidity's daughter or something like that. I was like, wow, that's a great way of saying that. I mean, I think it's very accurate, but it was really, I don't know, it's very
only the way
poetic
the spot can be. But yeah, but this is where we get the first shock of the night, right? Where he's like, and then Louis pursued me. And Louis like, motherfucker, no, I didn't. Like, so who do you guys believe? Who pursued who?
Obviously. Okay. So this is setting up the unreliable narrator. Who is the unreliable narrator of this?
Yes, and I hate these two because of that.
Is it Louis or is it Lestat?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, like, can we really call them like quote unquote unreliable narrators in a way? Because it's just kind of like, is their point of view of how things happen? Every story has three sides, right? This one, A, B, and then the truth. And I feel like throughout this entire thing, you know, point of view has been such a huge deal. Earlier in this season, we saw Armand's point of view of how things happen, you know? And this episode, I think we're seeing maybe he was like embellishing a little bit, but I do believe that like this was kind of like where he was coming from an emotional point of view and from like how he felt and how he saw his interactions in New Orleans with Louis. So like I don't like to see him as like I don't like to like be like, oh, this is a reliable narrator, but because it's like that's just kind of like what it is. We saw all first season. It was Louis' point of view. Everything was like happening to him and whatever, and he was just kind of like, you know, this is what happened, and things have been kind of shifting this episode, this season too. So I don't know. I'm not saying that like both of them are wrong or both of them are right. It's just their point of view of how things happen.
Okay, I guess I can see that, but from from Lestat's perspective, maybe he did see Louis, who is very attractive, Louis who is intriguing, and is intrigued. It was always intrigued by Lestat, that he could see Louis as somewhat of the pursuer, and Lestat, who is a hopeless romantic, would probably see it from his perspective that this man wanted me so much, and I can do anything but give in because I'm a romantic vampire.
No, what I see happening is Louis was probably doing that thing where he saw a hot guy on the street and was having dirty thoughts. And then Lestat heard those dirty thoughts and then was like, oh, he's pretty. Let me check that out. I think that's probably the closest to what happened. And I'm gonna have to disagree with you guys, and it's their point of view, because it's like, no, it's like I could be here sitting down eating ice cream, and then you just come and take my ice cream and eat it, and then say, well, from my point of view, it's my ice cream. Like, no, it's like, or like, if you're in a couple, like who asks who out on the first time, like that's kind of like factual. As to how you get asked out, that might be different. Yeah, context. But yeah, and Louis kind of mad at Lestat for saying he pursued him.
It's funny because like I see like the like to me it was like that's the one thing out of everything that Lestat said that I was like that I was kind of just like, I feel like he's really, really embellishing it. But in my second watch, the only way that I could possibly like explain it is that I don't know if you guys have ever been like really attracted to somebody that you've never met before. It's like for the first time, really attracted. You're really into that person. It feels like you can't, like there's a pull, like they're pulling you because you're so into them, and you just like you just want to kind of be in their everything. And for Lestat, for me, I feel like maybe that's how Lestat was feeling. He saw Louis and was just kind of completely all in from jump. And
I agree on that.
And feeling that way about him can feel like, oh, he was calling me. So it may not be like, oh, he was actually calling me, but like, it kind of like that feeling, that like that attraction that you just can't help no matter what. I know this person is bad for me, but I just can't help it. You know what I mean? I know this person, I don't know this person, but I need to like go to them. Like, and maybe that's the only way that I could possibly understand that if that's how, that's how he quote unquote saw it, like that's kind of possibly how it happened.
Yeah.
I feel that.
My second viewing, that's kind of how I saw it.
I could see that. And one line that Lestat does like describe Louis as that I appreciated was, American Puritanism mangling his soul, which I love, because we talk a little bit about like the damage to, or the guilt he feels due to sort of his upbringing and his religiosity, whatever. So Lestat mentioning that, I thought was very well done, because it was just like, yeah, Louis is a ball of nerves. I'm glad you recognized him, but they still decided to turn him into a vampire. I mean, you also turned him into a vampire in the House of the Lord, Lestat. Like he
broke rule 1.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, Lestat wasn't gonna like be into all those rules.
Yeah, he's
but I mean, I like that he put it that way, because that's how he saw Louis. And when Lestat said that about Louis was just kind of like, what? Like he made a face like, that's not true, but it is. You know what I mean? He had this kind of like his before vampire world, his life changed when his father died, and he had to like get the sugar business, and that quit. Then he like went into the brothel business, and then he was that person whether he wanted to or not. You know what I mean? So like he has all these things like kind of thrusted upon him whether he wanted to
pushed into a corner by his race,
his homosexuality, and how America, and then you add his race to it. So it's just kind of like it was a lot of things, and Louis may not have seen it that way, but having someone come from another place, from another time, another place, like I can see how it was easy for Lestat to see it that way, and for Louis to be like, what? That's fucked up. That's not true,
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of what we see is Lestat sort of like not caring or indifferent to a lot of the things Louis was like complaining about, is because like Lestat's like at this point a couple of centuries old. you know, because a lot of the ways Lestat was acting in season 1 is how we see Louis acting in season 2. Because it's like, my guy, I've seen all of this. What are you stressed about? You know? From there, though, one thing I did want to ask you guys, what did you think about like the cartoon drawings where they have like...
It was pretty cool. I mean, and they established this in episode 2 about the how it was the animations that they did, that they kind of, I would say, probably revolutionized these animations, you know, in the theater. That they use these. And I thought they were, you know, pretty cool representation, these crude drawings of those two. So,
what about you, Carly? What did you think about the cartoons? Oh, I can't hear you, Carly. Oh, you're muted, Carly.
My bad, I had to cough. I liked it too, because like the multimedia aspect of all of their shows in the Teatro de Vampire were, I don't know, maybe like ahead of its time, because I remember them saying that it was a little gauche and like they were kind of on the outskirts of the theater community. But I liked these particular animations and projection of them because they were like that crudeness kind of added to the campiness of it all. You know what I mean? The like little, the little. I just love the little blood tear that little cartoon Lestat would cry. You know? Like it was just really, it was
Santiago and
funny.
The crew got him down.
Yeah, and it was like, I liked, not only does the show Interview with a Vampire does this well, but I think the Teatro de Vampire also does this well, where it's like they kind of balance out this comedy with all the horror and the drama that's going on stage. And the show and the TV series also does this really well.
That's what Shakespeare did best. The best tragedies are comedies, you know? Like, it's awesome. Okay, so from there, Lestat is recounting his offering of eternal life to Louis when an audience member just comes out of nowhere and he's like, doo! And Lestat just turns up behind him like, what'd you say, my guy?
Ooh,
and he gathers this soldier as a deserter to be like, oh, you're going to be homophobic here. You, who was in the army and then ran like a little bitch and deserted, but then you couldn't read a map. So you got lost and then came back and just be like, I don't know what happened for 3 days. I love that.
I know.
I love the moment. Love the moment.
Great moment.
But why the fuck these people did not immediately run the fuck out? Okay.
Because it's fake. It's a show, right? Santiago said it's all fake. None of this is real.
None of this is real.
Right?
But you tell them it's fake and you show it to them and they'll believe it.
Do you think that army
also,
guy
I don't think that gave 2 shits about whatever the rules was.
Pretense. He didn't give a shit about the pretense.
He got on there. He got up in the balcony so fast. He went down when he was, showing the emotion to the other guy. Like he just didn't give a fuck. He was like, I'm not sticking to the script.
Which I would like to also point out, if Lestat is that fast, because he has the blood of Marius, is that right?
Magnus.
Or was Magnus? And that's the power that he got from Magnus. And we see that what's his name, that Santiago has to just fly up there. Nigga, you could have prevented it, Lestat.
But it would still be Lestat as one person. Like if it was Lestat and like Armand like tag teaming, maybe.
I feel like Lestat could take Santiago.
I felt like Armand could take all of them.
All of them. Yeah.
Well, I got
arguing about this.
In fairness,
of the ancients. And he's just sitting in the box seats like,
wait. Sam was there blocking him with like that fake staff though, right? Like
he did. Okay. In fairness, he did have a scythe. He did have a scythe.
What the fuck is a scythe to a man
I'm
who
sorry.
makes fire?
So you're telling me that this ancient vampire has controlled this coven for 2 centuries. In this particular episode, we saw him control a whole ass room of people to say something completely different, and he couldn't take Sam on with his fucking scythe. That's what you guys are saying?
Bullshit. He's so full of bullshit.
That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Like how? Like I don't know if you guys saw that meme where it's like they're like, oh look at it's Armand, and like they would show like he was trapped, but like on the door was a cheese doodle holding the door.
Yeah.
It's like, my God, what are you talking about? You couldn't. You said one word at a dinner party and everybody went to sleep.
Look.
What is happening?
That's what I'm.
That's all. You know what? In fairness to y'all, that's also true because Armand has the power to freeze humans, so he could have just fucking froze every human up in there, and I mean, your fucking player's done.
Done.
You can tell me he couldn't go around real fast and slit everybody's something to like at least incapacitate them.
It's not like he cares about humans. He doesn't care.
It just made no sense. Oh, like, they said they were gonna kill me.
Look,
okay.
It's almost like him and Lestat were on the same wavelength, where it's like we just need to get rid of Claudia. Like that's what all of this really like. We need our man Louis, and we can't have our like either side was like, well, we'll just let this keep going. Is just Claudia, and then like we'll save Louis. I'll like go save my hoe because none of all of that didn't make any sense. But okay, Armand, you can't do shit. Right. So yeah, Lestat gathers the audience member, and then we get the night Claudia was turned with another reveal that blew my mind because this just felt even messier than the first go round. Mm-hmm. Because in season 1, we see like what Louis' shenanigans cause. He decides to save Claudia, and he basically like bargains with Lestat, saying like, "Look, if you save her, I'll stay with you." But we don't quite see the desperation that they show us in this episode in season 1.
No, they don't. And I found it pretty. I'm sorry, Carly.
No, go ahead.
I found it. One part of how that went down in this particular episode, I found it very beautifully tragic, and it was that scene where, of course, when they switched the actresses to put in Delaney there, and Louis was just dragging her across the floor towards Lestat.
Like a doll.
Literally just dragging her like a doll, like our beautiful baby girl, please save her, please make her our beautiful girl. And I thought that was like so beautifully tragic in that particular steal with him doing that. Mm-hmm. And we see, and I apologize, I'll step on his toes because we kind of see and hear Lestat saying that he's not allowed to make a child, which because that's why I was kind of confused. Did he say that actually in season 1? And I could not recall that.
I don't recall. Carly, do you?
I'm gonna say I don't remember, but I'm gonna say he didn't say that in season 1 because Louis didn't remember that he said that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what we saw in season 1 was Louis' memory. Of what happened. And this time around, we're seeing Lestat's memory, which this was the first time that I was like, oh yeah, I absolutely believe this version because like you said, Mo, that desperation, that's Louis. That like all of this felt so Louis to me. Like it felt even more Louis than when Louis was saying it. You know what I mean? That kind of like that desperation, that like wanting, that manipulation. Oh my God, if you turn her, she could be our daughter. She could be our daughter. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
we could be together again.
You could be happy. I will never leave you. Like, how are you going to say that to someone that you know loves you like that?
And Lestat was like, this was the first time in years I saw the light back in his eyes.
Right. So it's just kind of like for Louis, if we're believing this version, which I do believe a version of this particular one, like it just feels so right to me when it comes to Louis, and especially when it comes to the emotional kind of story of the two of them. Like it just does. Like none of this was like, that's Lestat's lying. No, I was like, that fucking sounds like fucking Louis. Louis is manipulative like that. Louis is emotional as shit. He is desperate.
Like this is a terrible reason to have a baby and or a vampire.
Exactly. Like, but like he knew that like how he's saying no to me. How am I gonna get him to say yes? Oh, she could be our daughter. And the second he said daughter, Lestat was like, oh yeah, our daughter. That means that we're gonna have this family. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just so like fucked up, and that's what I found to be the tragic moment, the tragedy of this particular moment, because I almost felt like it wasn't even about saving Claudia to begin with.
Not at all.
The first time around and the second time around, it wasn't about Claudia. None of this has ever been about Claudia. All of this has been about Louis and how
she
to
even herself
finding that one thing to make him feel to make him feel good, to make him feel human, to, you know what I mean, to have that attachment, something. But none of this has ever been about Claudia, which is, and Claudia knew this the whole time, which is why she would always say so, you know. So
the most heartbreaking part of it all is how clearly Lestat says she will be crippled for the rest of her life. She will be a child. Like, this will haunt you. Will regret this shit. Like, he could not be any clearer. And
so, like he said, he said, you'll regret this for the rest of your life. But he did it. You know why? Because he loved Louis, and this is what Louis wanted, so he had to do it. But he knew that this was wrong.
And here we are.
Aside from like everything that happened between the three of them, past Lestat converting Claudia aside, he knew that this was wrong. So seeing Claudia die may have hurt or whatever at the end, but like it was wrong to make her to begin with. You know, she's gonna be like he was, and like he was saying, he was like, her emotions are gonna rule her. It's gonna drive her crazy. Like all of this stuff, like he was saying, and Louis was like, no, that doesn't matter. Come on, I need her. We gotta say it.
So this is the point in where Louis tells Daniel that I think you need to go with whatever Lestat's version of this was.
Like in the past, because he said no.
I think Armand said something like Lestat is like bastardizing Louis' memories, whatever. And Louis said no, that is what happened.
Yeah,
and you should go with that version in your book.
And
he said it plain out. He was like, that is what happened. This entire, especially this season, we've seen Louis kind of struggle with his memory. You know what I'm saying? Which is, again, another reason why it's just kind of like, I can't take everything that happened in season 1 as the law. I can't.
Oh, you absolutely can. Yeah.
Like even his memory, even himself, he can't trust his own memories. You know what I mean?
And I could see why he would deny it at the trial. Like, Claudia's alive. Like, do you want to admit that?
When Claudia was like, is that true? He's like, no, that's not true.
No, of course not. So of course he denied it. So I can see why he denied it.
I mean, but also in present day, he said, I didn't remember at the time. So when Claudia asked him, he said no, because he didn't remember that, that all of that happened.
He didn't remember, or he willingly didn't remember. It would hurt her feelings, all of the above. But now Claudia ain't here, and he's like, yeah, that sounds about right. It's just
I did that.
Interesting.
He said, yeah, he told me that what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And implying that like, and I didn't care, and I wanted it anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Tragic. So yeah, this is another revelation we see, and Lestat goes ahead and makes her. He finally gives in.
Yes.
And I don't know. Louis, they kind of talk about how like she started living as a vampire. Louis coddled her. Lestat raised her killer instinct, and then we see the eventual breakdown of Louis and Lestat's relationship, which, if we remember in season 1, Jesus fucking Christ. I'm pretty sure I cried when I first watched episode 9 in season.
No, I absolutely know you cried.
Shut up.
And so Lestat paints this as a picture. Okay. Let me be delicate here.
Okay.
Lestat paints this as a picture of they were fighting each other for the audience. And I think, and this is like before he was talking about the threat of loneliness and made the guy feel his loneliness as well, the vampire loneliness. So, but Lestat paints this as a picture of them fighting each other, and that Louis being the main aggressor. So I don't know if we can trust that telling of the story when we clearly in season 1 saw Lestat being the one that was domestically abusing Louis. So who can we trust in this scenario?
To be honest with you, based on what we saw in San Francisco, I trust this version of the events more than the one that happened in season 1. Because we saw Louis lose his shit in San Francisco and say some really fucked up things to the person that's supposed to be his partner, his companion. So when we saw,
I'm not excusing that, but he was high.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What's that phrase? Your drunk mouth says what sober thoughts or whatever. That.
And we've seen Louis be vicious. We've seen him be
vicious. He's manipulative.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Time and again, to Daniel, to like people who don't give a fuck about. Like, we've seen how.
No, emoji, you're roboting.
Am I still roboting now?
It's now you're good.
Now you're good.
Amon's fault. But yeah, we've seen we've seen Louis be petty. But for some reason, I feel like we always just like. I'm not saying we shouldn't. They're all fucking monsters at the end of the day. But we jump over Louis' bullshit and how he is a monster just because he got them pretty eyes. Like. You know,
and he has a lot of other pretty things, but like,
yes.
But to be completely honest with you, had we not seen the San Francisco episode, and it was a great thing that we saw it when we did, I wouldn't have believed this version. I would have been like, oh my God, Lestat is just hamming up.
You know what convinced me? Because the one thing that's been consistent is like Lestat's deep fear that Louis is gonna fucking leave him and that loneliness.
Absolutely.
So when like Lestat says, not Lestat, when Louise basically like, I'm gonna cut off your head and walk it down to the sea. Like I was like,
I'm gonna take this. That was so fucking funny.
I was like, yeah, that feels like something that, because like it's just like you're basically at that point admitting that what we have is nothing. And then when I think about when he like picked him up and flew him up in the air like Superman, and he was like, say you fucking love me, and Louis is just there like indifferent and indignant and just like, I was like, yeah, I could see it. It's absolutely domestic abuse, you know, on both parts, but more on Lestat's part, which is why I kind of like the show being like, motherfuckers, this is abuse. But I do like the show making Lestat acknowledge that he broke Louis, regardless of what Louis said, regardless of whether or not Louis was putting hands on him as well. He broke him, and he acknowledged that. And Claudia was like, I don't give a fuck. I don't. And she's not wrong.
The thing, what I really liked that this episode did was kind of humanize them even more. Humanize Louis, humanize Lestat, like even more than before. And I wouldn't say one was worse than the other, because, you know, Lestat dropped them from top. Like abuse is abuse. You know what I'm saying? But what I really liked about this particular version of that event is the context, and it's the emotionality that Lestat had. It was after 7 years of just being this fucking of nothing with this relationship, of not returning any affection or anything. 7 years of just nothing, right?
Yeah.
Then she comes back, and then he's gonna just leave like that. Like that.
Like, I'm burning your shit at
vampire, right? Like, take all the vampire shit out of it. Like someone that you just fucking love with all of your heart and all of your soul, just easily just throws you away like that. Not only that, but like he's saying the most vile things that he can, and you're trying your best to not.
Damn, like really,
that's like, how can that hurt so much when Lestat was looking at him and he said, you're gonna leave with her anyway. Like that shit hurt me. Like I was just like,
because it's just like, then what the fuck, like, was any of the last that you just used me? You just used me to get this child, and like now that she's back and she's asking you. But what's also incredibly damaging about that is like Louis, we see him leave with Claudia, but even as he chooses Claudia, he doesn't. It's almost like Louis just can't choose.
He has always had one foot out in both relationships. Absolutely. And the both of them being Lestat and Claudia, blame each other.
Yeah.
For that, for Louis', you know, wishy-washiness.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean? Like inconsistency. And that has been true forever. When he, quote unquote, chooses Claudia, he's not because he's with, you know, Lestat is with him all the time, and he you know, and he's like there, as we saw a couple of episodes ago. And then when he's with Lestat, it's just like, oh man, woe is me, Claudia. And it's just kind of like, dude, make up your fucking mind. And listen, I'm saying all of this completely understanding that in so many ways he was cajoled into becoming a vampire, absolutely 100%. But at the end of the day, like, now that you're here, like, man up and either like shit or get off the pot, pretty much. Either say, I don't want this with you, or be in it. You know what I mean? But like his wishy-washiness drives people crazy, as we have seen with these three people. You know what I'm saying?
Like, absolutely. Like I'm honestly done with Louis. I'm fed up, because Like,
interesting.
I wouldn't drop him because that's just a lot. But I completely understand the idea that someone loves you so much that they made a child with you, thinking like that would fix things, and then in that entire time, you just became a depressive couch potato with books everywhere, not cleaning shit. And then as soon as Claudia comes back, you're like, peace. I don't give a fuck about you. Like, that's hurtful, Louis. That's really fucking hurtful.
So I have a question about about when Claudia was gone. So it was said that she was gone for 7 years. Was she kidnapped by Bruce those 7 years, or was she just gone part of that time?
I think she was gone from New Orleans for those 7 years. Part of the 7 years Bruce had her. We don't know how long.
We don't know how long it was. Yeah. Okay, that Bruce had.
Yeah.
And do we remember? I don't remember what happened to Bruce. Did he just leave, or did he burn himself up?
No, he just left. Yeah. Like he's out there in the world somewhere.
But I just want to say, shout out to Sam Reed's acting in this scene where he's just I broke him. He was like, I did worse than drop him. I did worse than beat him. I did worse than fight him. Like, I broke the person I fucking said I love the most.
Yeah.
And Sam Reed,
like I just beat you. It sounds like I just beat you, but I only beat you because I love you. To me,
no, that's not what he said at all. Don't be playing with
That's what I heard.
That's what you heard. That's not what he said. Yeah.
That's like a hardcore simplification of this entire thing.
Absolutely. Like let's
his apology.
Let's keep all the star hate in check now, sir. Says someone who hates Armand with every fiber of her being. But yeah. But Claudia is just over everybody. She gets up, tendons cut and everything, and somehow manages to stand on her feet better than Louis, which I don't understand because you're supposed to be older, Louis, whatever. And Claudia is just like angry and infuriated at Lestat, and this is what you always do. You're hurting him now, and it's just like all of y'all hurting each other, and this was sad. This was just some sad shit.
I did like that kind of in that moment. It was very kind of like devil angel on opposite shoulders of Louis, where Lestat is just kind of like bearing his soul and apologizing, and Claudia's like, "This is what he always does." You see, he's like, and I was just kind of like, "This is so great." But at the end of the day, I just feel like none of it matters because Louis is like a grown ass fucking person and can make his own decisions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I never thought that. I never thought, even before this episode, that Lestat was like so manipulative that like he just couldn't help it. You know what I mean? Like
that's just taking all the power away from Louis and his decisions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But that's kind of part after watching this episode is kind of everything that we saw from Louis' point of view, season 1, like all of that is just like it seemed like shit was just happening to him. You know what I mean?
When he's very much in the passenger seat.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And even with this season, I think from episode 1, I've been like, oh, Armand he must not remember none of this shit. Because why is my bro like hugging him up on the seat? If Claudia's dead, like, does he not remember? And it's like, no, you fucking remember Claudia's dead. You remember Armand has a hand in that. You remember all this shit. Forget the shit you don't remember. You remember this much. And you're still here like la-di fucking da.
Yeah. There is something to be said about the kind of I don't know if there's a technical term for it, but like the amnesia that you get from trauma, you know what I mean? That kind of like that kind of erases some parts of it.
It goes blank.
Goes blank. I'm sure there's a lot of that in there with Louis, but like overall, like I don't feel as sorry for him as like we were supposed to feel for him in season 1. I just don't.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I never
Claudia
did.
Is the only one I feel sorry for this season. Like all these other grown ass men can go kick rocks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I felt sorry for him from the beginning for Claudia. Like
this was a terribly stupid fucking decision, Louis. Like just like and like in the books, Claudia's like 5 or whatever. Like so, but not even like a teenager. Like, what were you thinking, Louis? Like, Jesus.
And Lestat too. You know what I'm saying? And I like that Lestat was like, if you guys are gonna burn them or like find them guilty for what they did, I made her, so find me guilty too. Like, I do think that there was some some part of Lestat that just came here to just be like, yeah, okay, sure, I did all that.
I think he would have been fine. Nah, I don't think he would have been fine, but I think a little bit of him would be fine dying with Louis.
Yeah, but not necessarily dying. But I think that he just kind of came. First of all, I really do believe that he just like came to
curiosity.
To hurt. He came to hurt Louis and Claudia. Okay. How that hurt is, I don't know. But also he came to tell his story, because every time Santiago was like, putting in the flowery words of like, betrayal and torture, he's like, that's not, this is a story about love. You know what I mean? Like he kept correcting him. So like,
our love story. Stop it, Santiago.
So like I think that was there to just be like, to kind of like set the record straight in a way, and be like, yeah, I also played a part. Like I'm not innocent in all of this either.
Lestat's ego so big, you're not going to tell his story for him. No matter how it ends, you're not going to tell his story for him.
I don't care how many scripts are out there.
Exactly.
So here's my thing, and I should have brought this up in the upfront, because like this is the only point of reference I have is the movie, and it was very, very quick in the movie. This particular section, there was no trial. There was pretty much just like, you killed a vampire, another vampire, you got to go. I do like, of course, this is a little bit of a longer format that they were able to do with this, and I like and I definitely like the setup. What I don't like about it was the double standard, the double standard of it, where if Lestat broke away from the coven, Lestat A, who broke away from the coven, who also revealed his true nature to a vampire, who made a child, who attempted to kill another vampire. Why does he get to skate when he's just as guilty? And I know y'all touched on this, but it's just like, he's just as guilty as them, but yet he gets to skate for some reason on these sacred laws and these sacred charges, when it just doesn't sit right with me.
Well, do you think that's due to sort of the racial implications the show's not really banging on its head on?
I thought about that, but only reason why I kind of push back against that, because they have Black and Asian and they have Black and Asian vampires in their coven.
That's true. What took me to there was, the fact that at this entire point of the show, like Madeleine's in the day, she's not even though she's on trial, she's not on trial. They're not asking her any questions other than like, oh, she's just a bastard fledgling.
She's just a bastard.
She's not the one that they're trying to punish.
Yeah. And
you know what I mean? And also, and I feel like I can't even like answer that, Juwan, until I know like Lestat's situation right now. You know what I mean? Like we don't know if he's free. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah, that's also true.
Like I don't know that. So
we don't know if we kind of do though, because he was alive in the San Francisco episode.
Well, we don't know what happens next week. We don't know how everything goes down.
Yeah, one more episode. Gotcha. To see
that is true, because we don't know what. Because I didn't even think about that. We don't know what happened to Lestat.
But we don't know what happened to Lestat after this. But we don't know what's happening right now. Like before he got on stage, before he was like getting ready,
like he's been up to.
You said, Mo, that someone noticed that he looked like he may have been shackled. We don't know what his situation is right now
at all.
Gotcha.
So I can't, it's hard for me personally to answer that for you.
Something else that made me think of the racial implications was outside it, like Madeleine being on trial but not being on trial, made me think about how like back in the day, like, there'd be that one person who was friendly with Black people, and like, if they arrest the Black people, oh, you want to be nigga lover, then you're coming with us. Like, just not even for the actual crime, but for the crime of being friends with Black people, you're now like on trial. And outside of that, one more thing I noted about the racial implication is Claudia mentioning that this is a stoning, not a trial.
Facts.
Like everything's
but
already been judged.
That felt biblical, not racial.
I mean, yeah.
That also felt like very, I don't know, almost literal. Not stoned, but like it was like, he was like killing them by 1,000 cuts. It's like it's not just it's not a trial because it's not fair, and they're just kind of torturing them little by little and putting this out little by little. So like that felt very.
And again, the script is written. There's no, there's no innocence to be proclaimed in any way, shape, or form with this.
Yeah, we kind of glossed over it. Is that they don't even get really much of a say because they're not letting them speak.
Yeah,
and I feel like when are you gonna honestly
get closer to your mic?
Oh, sorry. They don't get a say because they're blocking their thoughts, and then it's kind of like, why are you trying to appeal to these humans? You should really just be turning around and speaking to,
because it's a show, it's a matinee.
Yeah. At the end of the day, they're also like theater kids, so we have to.
Yeah, that's true too.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, you know what I mean? Like we saw the script. First, I love the name of the show. It was like Trial! ! The something of Louis and Claudia and their fledgling something Madeleine. Like it was just
dramatically long.
Dramatic, title, right? It was funny. It was fun. I found it really funny.
Look, I was putting last week's title into like, I think YouTube, and I was like almost out of characters. I was like, Interview the Vampires. Y'all titles cannot be this long. Like the one with like the light before the god, and I was just like, how many characters is this? Like, but one thing I do want to ask you guys out there listening, let us know, because I would like to know what other people out there sort of think, though, if there are any racial dynamics involved. Like, what do you guys see? Is it not involved at all? Is it involved? Is it nuanced? Like, I'm really interested to hear. There you go.
That'd be interesting. I mean, I saw it a lot more in the previous episodes than I saw it here.
Interesting. Okay. So they offer Madeleine the option to join the coven because sure. And Madeleine's like, nah, my coven is Claudia. And I love that someone finally chose
I kind of feel they should have made that. I kind of feel like I loved it, but I kind of feel like it wasn't as earned.
Get out of here. Joanne's not going to be here for the finale, guys. Get out of here. What do you mean that?
She just was not as... I felt like if we saw more interactions, like I think we only got maybe 2.
Girl said she was willing to enter into a relationship and she loved her before they turned her into a vampire. How is
isn't that kind of gross as well? She's
I'm
14.
not saying it's not, but they're vampires. We were past ridiculous and weird and gross right now. Like,
also facts. Also true.
But I guess maybe that if we would have saw just a little more of that relationship building besides the 2 before she actually killed the people that were gonna like assault her, I feel like it would have been a little bit more earned that this because of the original.
Let's not turn Louis in the first episode. I don't know what more you need to see, sir.
I'm just thinking it just didn't feel as earned to me as the Lestat Louis relationship.
Well, nothing is ever gonna feel as earned as they're on like some Gone with the Wind type shit. Like nothing is like, look at Armand. Look at the mess Armand has made of his life, because his and Louis' love story will never measure up to Lestat and Louis. So let's not go chasing waterfalls, because no, we're not gonna make it.
He said that without saying it in San Francisco. He pretty much said, "You're not Lestat," without saying it.
Uttered in our home for 23 years.
And like, you're boring.
You're beige.
I was like, you're just. I was like, God,
like,
just be like, you're not Lestat.
Like, God, damn.
Just get on with your life.
He had been holding on to that one, like ready for it.
Yeah, I can understand why you feel that way, Juwan. About that moment not being earned. However, for me, it really was, especially when they were just kind of like, Madeleine, do you want to join our coven? And Claudia was like nodding, like pretty much like, say yes, is okay.
Just say yes. Yeah,
and I think for me, the moment that she said, no, Claudia is my coven, like she's like pretty much choosing Claudia, that's what like got me. That finally, after all of this shit, somebody finally chose Claudia first.
Yeah,
like
fucking
she chose Claudia knowing that she was gonna die and still chose her. Yeah. Like that's pretty much all that Claudia has been wanting
from the beginning. Yeah,
from the beginning.
She was never, unfortunately, gonna get it from either Louis or Lestat, and definitely not Armand.
Right,
and that made it earned for me. Yeah,
absolutely. As much as he fought for it to have it with Louis, and like there were a lot of false starts and a lot of like broken promises
like
on Louis'
episode
side.
1,
You know what I mean?
you and me, like,
You.
and he broke that
You and
shit by
me,
the
you
third
and you.
episode. Like that didn't mean
Yeah.
shit. Like, come
Right.
on. See?
So like the fact that Madeleine was just kind of like, no, I'm gonna. Like Claudia is my girl. Like that's my girl. I love that moment. The whole time though, when she was sitting there in the trance that Santiago put her in, I was just kind of like, everyone has had the worst fucking life.
Yes.
Like Madeleine, Claudia, Louis, Lestat. Like I was like, Jesus, this is
just
terrible.
tragic backstories.
And like right when like you thought that Madeleine was just kind of like, and probably she thought she was like, oh, I'm gonna be a vampire. This is gonna be great. And now this happens. Like,
look, at least I had a little bit of happiness before it all went to shit. I guess
I
a
hope
short ass
so.
honeymoon, but something. So they're Santiago basically sentences them to death via the audience. And Claudia makes a promise to come back and kill every one of the single motherfuckers in the audience.
Now, what did you make of the whole, when she does that, what do you make of the whole thing where she says, remove your hat? Because she didn't necessarily need to see.
There's a guy behind her.
Yeah. Oh, the guy. Oh, okay. I watched this like 3 times, and I never even thought about the guy that was sitting behind him. Never thought it was the guy was sitting behind.
One person, and I appreciated that.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if I'm gonna come back, but if I do, let me make sure I see your face.
Right. I know every one of you fuckers' faces. I'm coming back and killing all of you. I appreciate
that. Well, that makes more sense. I was more thinking like some type of transference or something like that. That was pretty brutal though. No.
Absolutely. And then
I just loved how she went out though. Like she went out the whole time. She was defined as fuck, but like she went out on her own terms. She wasn't begging for her life. She was just fucking singing the song that she hated after a while. Like she had her girl like holding her girl. Like the whole thing was really fucking just brutal, emotionally brutal. But it was gorgeous. It was beautiful.
Great CGI, great acting by I can't. Why am I forgetting Delaney? Sorry, I'm like merging her first and last name. Just it was like I have no complaints, especially when she like turns to Lestat to look at him for like to as she burns. And some people are like, oh, like, and I'm gonna ask you guys what you think it means, but for me, I think it's like, look at me, motherfucker, and I hope this never leaves your mind. Like, look at what your bullshit led us to. You know, what did you guys see? Okay, Carly, you?
No, yeah, I completely agree. It's just like to just, and still as she was singing, remember that. So she was singing and she's looking into his eyes, and that was the last thing that she saw. And that's gonna be burned into, no pun intended, into his, hopefully into his memory forever. He looked like I found it not surprising, but like I found it, I don't know, quite beautiful also that like I know that he came for this, that he didn't want Claudia in this form to exist at all.
He never wanted her to go to Europe either. He was like, bitch, just stay here.
You know, he wasn't about that life. But like in that final moment, like it really, like the first time I watched it, it brought a complete, like brought me to tears. Because seeing him watch her like burn away, ash away, and like you could see maybe regret, pain in his eyes, like that was a beautiful moment. There were 2 looks that we had in this episode, and that was the second one that just kind of floored me.
So it needs to be stated that at this point of the story, because we Claudia and of course Madeleine.
Wait, we didn't mention one thing yet though in the scene.
Okay, go ahead.
Louis' sentence. So, you know, while Madeleine and Claudia sentenced to death, when it comes time for the audience to also sentence Louis to death before she actually burns, somehow Armand's powers just rev up. Like it just kicks in. He's able to just, you know, control the entire crowd and like
I could not prevent it.
I could not prevent it, but I was able to get him banishment. And I was just like, fuck you, Armand. I hate you. He's able, and the banishment ends with leads to like before she burns or before Santiago opens the skylight, they throw Louis into a coffin filled with rocks, the very same rocks we see that Armand has in their penthouse apartment, which whoa.
Are you fucking serious?
Yes. You remember like when him and Daniel found out that the rocks his feet was in?
Fuck this nigga, man.
Right? His issues man, upon issues. I can't with Louis. He is just, he's fucked. Like, man. I feel like we'll watch this another time and there will be like 5 more trauma levels that we haven't noticed. That
we haven't even dug up.
Like, you goddamn it, Louis, I'm tired. Like, how much trauma you gonna have? Niggas, man. But yeah, that was wild that they basically buried him alive.
I can see, you know what? Honestly, I could probably see that being something that Louis maybe kept as a memento, because it was some type of like a Zen rock type of situation where this is where he caught clarity, and maybe he's thinking, this is how I'm gonna keep these rocks and forever, because this is a reminder of the trauma that I experienced, but also this is where this is also how I got my clarity to enact to to find my strength.
I just look at it all as him punishing himself continually.
Right, same.
That's
absolutely
He's real good with that Catholic guilt. He's real good.
I think that like knowing Louis, he's like, if those are the same rocks, it's just kind of like a constant reminder of the dumb shit that got him.
Even if it's not the exact same rock, like the ones from the actual coffin, it's a replica. You have surrounded yourself with a replica of the worst moments of your life, sir.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So now my next question to y'all is that I put in the group. So Louis, of course, since he had already been quote unquote banished and put in the coffin and put in put in the morgue, and this is Armand telling Daniel the rest of the story. Do we believe Armand? I already know how Mo feels. Carly, do you believe what Armand told Daniel how this sentencing went down between Claudia and Madeleine? Do you believe what he says?
That's hard. That's hard because I'm thinking about like how much more information are we gonna get in the final episode that could counter whatever it was that he told us in this episode. And I don't necessarily see that happening because there's a lot of shit that needs to go down. But yeah, I believe that the broad strokes that's what happened. I don't believe that when he said I wanted to know what they were saying to each other, but I couldn't because my mind was
I'm so
Louis.
weak.
I was like, really, bro? Yeah, like we have Santiago, who was just turned into a fucking vampire 20 years ago, being like on stage giving a performance of his life and also blackmailing and glamoring some fucking lawyer accountant across town. And you're telling me that you can be worried about Louis and also hear what the fuck
he's
these two
acting
are
like
saying?
Like, did he okay, so Armand is acting like he's been weakened for months or some shit. Right. Like, my God, the trial started like 12 hours ago. All of a sudden, your hearing's gone. You can't fight. You can't move. Like, you are just
can't do anything.
You're incapable of shit. You know, like he's just an infuriate. Like, I want his duplicity. Like, I get the complexity that he is, but I need his duplicity to also be revealed, because I refuse to believe. Like, what holds you back? Armand.
I was watching it with my friend, and when he was like, "Oh, I was worried about Louis and I couldn't hear." She was like, "Oh, so he just turned into a little bitch, right?" I was
basically,
like, "It looked like
that's what we're supposed to believe."
What happened?
Nothing. You a baby. He can't save his boyfriend. Like, what?
Like, I feel like the way he made it seem like Madeleine had more power than he did. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Like, and then he looked mad weak. Like, he had it as he's like standing by that like little cage they built for him, which Daniel was like the best seat in the house.
It was the best. He had a box seat. It was the best, one of the best seats in the house. You know what I mean? So like, again, I believe the broad strokes that's kind of what went down, and that's how they burned. And then she looked at Lestat and all that stuff. I don't believe the like helplessness of he couldn't.
So here's my more direct question, because I put a theory out there earlier in our podcast, in our podcasting. I was of the belief, and I'm still halfway of the belief, that Claudia is alive. So I mean, we saw it, but I believe this is also a show of unreliable narrators. That I believe. So it's my belief. So I'm still halfway there. Maybe Armand is telling this accounting of this story, and to tell Daniel that Claudia did die, but maybe it was a situation that Madeleine died. Maybe at the last second Claudia was spared by Santiago or something, or she was bad. I don't know. I don't want to be one of those people that, because the show didn't do what I theorized in my head, then it's awful. I'm just hoping for some type of cliffhanger reveal at the end that would be satisfying. Like last season's cliffhanger, Armand, we have the vampire Armand. I didn't expect that shit. That we was gonna be that this was the vampire Armand.
real
so
Rashid.
real as Rashid. So I'm hoping for some type of equally cliffhanger, and it's not gonna be Aaliyah. So
I think it's funny because I think if we are going to end on any kind of cliffhanger, next week is going to be a Lestat cliffhanger and not a Claudia. I think Claudia.
But see, that's why I say is this book we already got Lestat. So
we got Lestat for one episode, sir.
I mean, like I feel like we'll see possibly Lestat in present day, or I think it's going to be Lestat related,
or at least in like
we're going to now move into his story.
Yeah. Okay. Or at least like after Paris, like
something.
But
I want to know, like, what's your evidence about? What's your evidence?
Yeah, Joanne. What's your evidence for that theory?
I don't have any evidence. I just have speculate. I just have a feeling that maybe that Armand is not being truthful about her being the one about her dying. Okay. Here's my thing. Let me put it to you like this.
Okay.
Armand may have saw her in the throes of being burnt. We saw Madeleine succumb first. We know that Lestat is faster than the speeding bullet. Maybe this is just my speculation. He got her, took her out. He got her, took her out somewhere, put her in the corner somewhere, and saved her.
Okay.
Maybe she was in that. Maybe she was in that sewer.
Santiago also picked up her dress in the very last shot and like walked away with it. I guess to reuse it. I don't know.
I think that's for us to know.
I'm psyching myself up. I'm psyching myself up to hopefully not be disappointed.
I would prefer if she remained dead and just was like a haunting memory till the start.
No, absolutely. No, that's absolutely what's going to happen. I think that we saw the Santiago. It was a beautiful shot of a frame of him like picking up
just
and like
shaking the dress off,
shaking the dress off too. So we don't think what you are saying, Joanne. So we could just be like, oh yeah, she really did. It's like a nice period on her death.
Yes, I think that was earned and deserved, and Claudia don't deserve this life no more. She good. She's fine.
And not only that, but I think that after all is said and done, I don't think anyone but Louis would save Claudia because she's, an abomination or whatever. Yeah. She shouldn't have been made in the first place.
Lestat might feel sad at her death, but he also would not get himself killed to save her. And Armando never liked her.
But aside from all of that, like I just think that like it's she's not gonna make it past a certain age anyway. You know what I mean? So it's just like
they've already said
physically she's not. Physically she's not, but mentally she's, whatever age she continues on growing to.
But that had an expiration date. Even then, like the mental part was going to fray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, it was a wwondrul episode. I super enjoyed it.
Gorgeous.
I can't wait for the finale in 48 hours, I guess.
48 hours? Wait, what?
Wait, today's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I don't know. What's that?
Does it come out? It comes out on Sunday. I think we get it like Sunday morning.
It comes.
We get on
Sunday morning.
Yeah, we get it on Sunday morning.
Because I have to watch it now before House of the Dragon. Like I can't.
I will probably end up doing that. Because I think this time I had watched House of the Dragon, and then I was like, I'm still awake. I'll watch it. I'll go ahead and watch Interview with the Vampire.
No, I normally watch since House of the Dragon came back. I just watch it on AMC on the app, so that takes care of it for me. But we have feedback. Are you ready for feedback, guys?
I have one more question for the both of you. Something that bothered me, and it was how Louis was so like gun-ho on defending Armand. Oh, they had him. He had, he couldn't get away. They threatened to kill him. I was like, why are you so like, you know what I mean? Like, why do you think that was the deal?
I can't even call it because like we've made good points that Armand is like at this point about 400, a little over 400 years old. He's older than all of them. We know that he's very, very powerful, but he was sitting there looking weak. And I would think that Louis so digmatized that he can't see that this person is something that Armand is not this hamstrung.
Because they didn't cut Armand's tendons. They didn't jump him. They didn't beat him. They didn't put him in a bag. Like, so what is, like, you were standing upright at the cafe, but now you're in a box. You can't do nothing?
I feel like he had more to do than what we're told.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like Armand, I feel like this is another manipulation of Armand to tell in the telling of this story. And I can't really point my finger. Maybe the third season we'll get a little bit more into this. If Armand is lying more about what went down than what is suggested in the second season. But also, I'm kind of mad that this show is getting away with fucking with his audience. Like this.
They majorly. They have no pity for us, and like they answer some questions and bring up like 50 others. They're really good at it.
And then they're basically trying to tell us that season 1 was a lie.
I like when a show is smarter than me. I appreciate that. Or they think harder, and when you think you have it solved, they're like, you thought, so I like that. I don't like knowing the answers, or I like when I make a prediction and my answer is like so off the mark, and that's been satisfying to like watch this season with them. But okay. Are we ready for feedback?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, so shout out to you guys out there listening. We have one final episode after this episode. If you have feedback, thoughts, send them to tvmoviemistress@gmail.com. Also, I finally have uploaded every episode of season 2 onto the YouTube channel. I'm so proud of myself. My laptop worked so fucking hard. So make sure you guys go over there and like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Share it to your friends, your enemy, your haters, like your Armands, don't matter.
Your Lestat, your Louis, your Armands, your Claudias.
Yes. So that's over there. But if you have, just heads up. So you can leave your feedback on the YouTube page now. I believe the listener's name was Contrapasso. They were like, oh, if this was longer, I'd leave it on YouTube. Well, now it's on YouTube. Yeah. Go ahead and leave your feedback there as well. And of course, email and the private Facebook group and all of that information is in the show notes. So let's jump into our feedback for this week. First comes from Heather. She says, hey, Heather. She says, first comment without any thought. This was Sam Reed's episode, E8. She also continues, I love the character of Santiago. The guy playing that role is incredible. He's been such a daunting figure until episode 7. As soon as Lestat went off script, it was over and you could see the defeat in his expressions. Oh yeah, didn't he say at one point where he was like, I'll kill him now myself?
I was about to break 5. Because he kept interrupting and going off script. Yes. I tell you, I love Santiago. He is fucking fabulous.
I feel like he's gonna die, but I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
He's gonna die.
He's gonna be the first to die.
I hope so. I did like that.
I don't hope so,
He's gonna.
As like scene stealing and like scenery chewing that Santiago is. Once Lestat came on stage, like you could tell the difference. Like he was completely eclipsed.
He was,
and it's not.
Santiago
And I'm not
was
just
no
being
longer
biased
the
because of
main.
I just feel like it was just like Lestat just has a certain je ne sais quoi that like.
Yes.
Santiago,
that's why everybody was sad when he
left.
And that's why Amon never got over him when he left.
Right.
That's why. And that's why. Yeah. Anyway, you know what? I could have a whole 2 hours just hating on Amon. Let me not do that now. So Heather continues. Like he was still like Santiago was still trying to play the judge and lead the play, but it didn't take long before Lestat took over, just as he does with everything. Santiago kept trying, but it was a failure. I will miss that character going forward. Yeah, because Louis gonna kill that man. Louis gonna kill him. Next feedback comes from Julie. Hey, Julie.
Hey, Julie.
Julie says, I agree that Lestat but my Oscar went to Claudia. Holy shit, the way she made you feel. Every single year she lived beyond 14. The exhausted, frustrated, world-weary condemnation in her tone. It was jaw-dropping. No, I agree. And she was the only one who was ever honest with Louis.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and that was needed. Because that's why now he don't know his left from his right. So whatever. Next feedback for the night. Shanna, you wrote a lot. Which one? Is that a comment or is that a feedback? Okay. Shanna answers one of the questions we had about Madeleine, which is that the French locals, because I think we asked, was she a Nazi sympathizer? And she says that the French locals shaved Madeleine's head for being a Nazi sympathizer. The choice to shave her head was probably seen as an appropriate punishment because of the Nazi practice of shaving heads in the concentration camps and also assaulting her looks because she had a sexual relationship with the soldiers. Okay, I think that's a good question. Good answer. Okay, so here is Shannon's. Yeah, but because we just sort of jumped all over like the whole Nazi side of her plot line because it was just like, girl, we got vampires. But yeah, so Shannon's actual feedback on this episode. She says, hey, Carly, Mo, and Jawan. Rolls her eyes at Jawan, appropriately so. He says, while the story has deviated wildly from the books and movie, I think the actors and writers are doing their big one with this season. The grimness of the trial/stoning and revisiting those season 1 moments was so harrowing. I love Claudia's defiance in the face of certain death and how Madeleine stood up for her. In the books and movie, Lestat is present when all this happens, but Claudia and Louis don't know that. So to have both of them not only aware, but having to face them is a big change, and I'm interested to see how it'll affect things going forward. It's still fuck him on because I don't believe he could not have overpowered every vampire and human in that theater. Right. Sam is an actor. And it makes sense because Lestat is the character that all the books hinge around, so it will be exciting to see him take center stage, literally and figuratively, in season 3. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Thanks, Shanna. Okay, final feedback comes from Elisa. Hey, Elisa girl. She says, whose recollection of the making of Claudia into a vampire is correct? Lestat this episode or Louise from season 1? I think we sort of agreed it was sort of a mesh, but due to the desperation factor, probably Lestat's. Some of Lestat's recollections, like Louise stalking him and begging him to be a vampire, were utter lies. So which one? What a great and tragic episode. Yeah. These two, like, I don't want nobody to be with each other no more, honestly. They got me tired, y'all. But I definitely, like, Louis just feels like he's incapable of ever giving someone, like, a partner the love they would like. Regardless of who they are. But everybody still wants him, so I don't know.
I can see how you would say that, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Oh, one final comment I do want to mention from Shanna that answers another question we had over the season is Claudia isn't emotionally or mentally stuck at the age she was when she was turned. The only thing stuck in time is her body. She's not perpetually teen in anything other than her physical appearance. That's why she's so frustrated. Yeah, I would hate to be a teenager and have my brain now. Like, that's just, I don't need that.
But we knew that. Was that a question that we had?
I think initially we weren't sure.
No.
Yeah,
because you guys kept saying she's 14. Oh
yeah. I would say Joanne probably kept saying it.
Yeah.
He's
no. Her mind, obviously, her experience, everything kind of
has
ages.
grown
Just
with her.
Body doesn't.
Yeah. And even like Lestat said, like she took at being a vampire like greatly. She was like, I'm ready for this shit.
Did you notice the like proud papa moment that he had when she was like, I know all of you guys' faces and I'm gonna kill all of you, and they
I don't know if there's an
face and he was like,
but if there is, I'm gonna be back for all you bitches.
Yeah, and I just felt like he was just so proud of her in that moment.
Yeah, I really think they could have worked as a family if like Louis gave a fuck about Lestat.
I just feel like Louis was a problem in that family.
He absolutely was. I agree. Because you can't just like be like, I'm gonna stay with you and then like withhold your emotional love from me for the next fucking decade. Like, then what the fuck is the agreement, Louis?
Right. I mean,
like, you're allowed to change your mind. Don't get me wrong. Yeah.
He was going through like some sort of depression, and I'm not saying like get over it and like go have sex with your man, but like at the same time it's like he just
make a decision.
He just checked out, like, and I don't think he was ever really there
at all.
The whole way.
I'm sorry, I have to go back to something in the episode that we totally forgot to talk about real quick. This is the end. So when we on to that point where Louis was not Louis, Lestat was saying that Louis was holding out his affection for 7 years. We know for a fact that or as much of a fact that Lestat can say is that he buried himself for 100 years in the dirt because he couldn't get over Nicholas. Louis just wasn't like fucking him for 7 years. He goes and makes another vampire.
Yeah, but he wasn't in love with that chick like that.
But they still trying to. But he broke law 3.
Okay, but like this vampire law about like you can't. Okay, that's a stupid law because every vampire was a human. So technically, you can't not make a vampire if you're not a fucking human.
I just feel like why we all like hung up on these laws?
Because it's all bullshit.
Because these niggas are. Because that's why these niggas killed. That's why they killed them.
It's bullshit. Just like
that's why they killed them.
Just like how when Lestat first met Amon in the 17th century, they were living like rats.
Mm-hmm.
So their laws are bullshit. It's like religion.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, we got to the point, guys. We made it. Look at that. It's malleable and depends on what century you're living in and what society determines to be truth and or fact.
I'm just saying Lestat is a fuck nigga.
We never said he wasn't. They all are. No,
I want y'all to hate him.
Sir, no, that's not happening. Get out of here. No. Yeah.
You're gonna have to like give me some like actual reasons.
Yeah, like Lestat has at least done more. Like
I'm sorry, domestic violence wasn't enough.
But then we have to feel the same way about Louis.
And Amon.
Yeah.
And Louis also put hands on Claudia.
No, okay.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like
they all terrible. They're all
at the end of the day, like they continue to remind us they're monsters. They're monsters at the end of the day. So it's just kind of like,
especially because Louis always being like, I don't drink human, but you kill them like sheep, Louis. You might not drink their blood, my guy, but you kill them like sheep. I'm confused. Or you let them on kill them like sheep. Like you. Anyway, okay. It's been an excellent episode. I am excited for the finale. Do you guys have any predictions for the finale? What do you think is going to happen? Because did you see the preview, either of you?
I did actually watch the preview.
Okay, Carly, did you watch the previews?
I did, but I don't remember. I just saw it once, and I was already in my feelings.
Gotcha. Okay, so we all, for the most part, saw it.
Yeah.
I only saw the little thing where there was. Only thing I remember from the preview was that. Well, I did actually remember the whole thing. Louis gets out. I'm assuming with help from my mom. We didn't see that part. I know he's riding a motorcycle.
He's about to be John Wick up in here. Yeah.
At one point, he ends up in that sewer and he lights his hand fire that he learned from Amon and says something about, I've come here to kill you, which I think the camera angle would lead us to believe he was saying that to Lestat.
You think Lestat's in the tunnels?
I think we did see Lestat. Yeah. It made it seem that way, like that was Louis talking to Lestat, but we do see Lestat in the tunnels.
I need him to save that energy for Amon, but okay.
My theory though is, well, y'all already know my theory. I'm still holding out hope that there's some type of subterfuge that Claudia is actually still alive.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to work your way through that, sir. But
I'm gonna try. I'm just gonna try not to be disappointed if it doesn't happen.
As long as you're not disappointed, because I feel like she's good and dead.
I'm still hoping for a modicum of subterfuge in there.
Okay. I would not like that. I don't want her to be alive. I'm fine with her being like the Lestat, like how Lestat was hunting Louis for season 2. What?
We just advocate for child death. Okay.
Some would say post-term abortion, even if you want to go that far. If you want to go, let's go. No, I'm sorry. But what was I saying? Oh, they're all terrible people. Rest in peace.
I don't have a prediction, but something that I want to see is I want to see that first interaction between Louis and Lestat. I want a scene between the two, just the two of them. I need to know how they settle it or don't settle it or whatever, but I need to see that first interaction after all of this that went down happens. Like, again, one of my the moment in this episode that we're talking about here that just floored me was that first when Lestat turned around and he first looked at Louis. You know what I mean?
At that point, like, did you guys also notice the moments where Lestat was wobbling?
Wobbling?
Yes, there was a moment where he was on stage where he looked dazed and he was like you know how like it's like 4 a.m. and you're drunk out of your mind, but you still got to stand up. Like he had that kind of look happening. I was really confused what was happening with him.
He probably just ate.
Okay, maybe he just ate and had a full. But it was like he was just out of it for a second. It was very quick. I had to like rewind and go back and see. But again,
he was very emotional.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I feel like this show has left so many Easter eggs for us. Like it's gonna be a treat to go back and like
rewatch
look at it with a microscope. Maybe I'll do an Easter. I've never done an Easter egg video. Maybe for this show, I'll go back and do it because it's like, damn.
But that moment between Louis and Lestat, that's the one thing I'm looking forward to the most. And I really, really want Daniel to meet Lestat, like in this season. Like I want to see that for some reason. So those are my two.
I mean, wants. Okay. I think my only prediction is that I do want is that
something just popped in my head.
That Daniel becomes a vampire, because I need Daniel to become a vampire.
Why?
I want.
Well, that's what you remember. My question from we remember my question from last week, though. If you are at my question last week, and I don't remember we ever truly answered it. The age you are now, would you want to be a vampire?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't think. Well, I think Carly said no because she wanted to make some changes.
Yeah, I need to lose like 20 pounds and then I could be a vampire.
No one said you can't lose weight if you become a vampire.
No, I think you stay exactly the same.
I think you stay as you are.
Hello?
I think
you're stuck at the weight.
I think you're stuck at your body stays as you are.
I think the way you are is perfect. So aside from that, everything else.
Yeah. I think I would say
I would do it.
Okay. I don't want to live forever. I mean,
and then you walk into the fire. Like the
guy. Maybe I want. Maybe you know what? Maybe another 20 years, which is probably likely anyway. But I just don't want to live forever.
The way global warming and world war and AI is going, it might be sooner rather than later. Honestly,
but no, I don't want to. I wouldn't want to live for another 100 years.
Some people live for 100 years now. What are you talking about?
I know.
I mean, I don't want to be them, but like if I could be that like 100 years with like peak fitness, fuck yeah.
In terms of Daniel, Daniel's an old man.
Yes. With Parkinson's.
He has with Parkinson's. I'm assuming it would cure his Parkinson's.
Yes.
Yeah.
But would he want to live as an old man, as a vampire, with knowing how his life, how he fucked up his entire human life?
I don't think it's something that.
Wait, what? I'm so sorry. Say that again.
Go ahead.
I had a burp. How he fucked up his entire human life. He ran through. He broke up 2 marriages. His children hate him. Only thing he has is only thing he really has is his job. I don't know if that man, and he's living with Parkinson's right now.
Yes.
And he's living. The only reason he's living because the only thing he really has in life is his job.
Right.
I don't know if that is the type of man that wants to live forever.
But also that means he has a second chance to right his wrongs of being a shit father.
I mean, also if it's like, for example, Louis chose this life or was cajoled into it, like because he, it's kind of like as a way out of whatever current life or whatever current situation you're in. So if Daniel wants that, even though he said at the beginning of this whole thing he does not, that's one thing. But I don't think that he wants it, especially after hearing this story. Yeah, I don't think that's something.
Maybe it's not a question of want, more a question of Louis throws a tantrum, accidentally kills Daniel, and has to make him into a vampire.
That's different. Yeah,
that'd be different.
He has
that
no
would
choice
be
in
interesting too.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? That actually was something that happened in a different vampire show, Let the Right One In, that got canceled.
Yeah,
it was such a good show too.
Was that the one on Netflix with the black family?
Showtime.
Oh, I didn't watch that yet.
So because I really don't care what these niggas talk about. They already start lying.
No, I gotta watch because you said we gotta give a fuck about the presidential. I'm gonna watch it.
Give me just entertain me for just a minute.
I will.
Because I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this at the end.
Vampire with the Vampire with the Diary. Jesus Christ! Interview with the Vampire. Is now more interested in the presidential election. Okay, go for it.
What we know from the press release is that Interview with the Vampire is a released book.
Yes.
In this time frame, that this book
so
is
the book
released.
Comes out.
The book comes out. Lestat either reads the book or knows about the
these
book.
These motherfuckers did not. Yeah,
I'm lying.
And he is going to tell his side. And he's gonna get to tell his side of the story. Whether that he's telling his side of the story with Dan, we know Daniel is coming back.
I know Daniel. Can you imagine Daniel being a vampire and now I got to interview Lestat? Like, my God, I'd walk into the sun.
Yeah, we don't know what capacity it is, but we know Daniel is coming back.
Okay.
Do we know that Lestat?
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Is Daniel that's gonna be interviewing Lestat or whatever?
We don't know if he's gonna be interviewing him, but I mean, did you see the original posts, Carly?
What do you mean the original posts?
Carly don't be on the internet. I put up a season 3 press release that might have had way too much information.
They had too much information.
I did. I started reading and I was like, can't finish this.
I read the whole thing. So we do know at least the book comes out. We know this. We know that all the actors are coming back. I believe what kind of spoiled me was there were mentions of certain names of people that are going to be in season 3 that we have not seen.
Yeah,
and I'll leave it at that for Carly. But I was just surprised that they're going to be going to book 2, which Carly, you know about, right?
I thought they were going to book 3, honestly, but the first 2 seasons is just book 1.
Yes.
Okay.
With a little bit sprinkled in from the Vampire Lestat when it comes to Armand's story,
which is Queen of the Damned.
I don't remember shit that happened in Queen of the Damned. I watched it, I don't remember it.
No, but the Queen of the Damned is not book 2.
It's book 3.
It's not book 2?
No, the Vampire Lestat is book 2.
Okay.
So what's Queen of the Damned?
Can I say it, Carly? You gonna be okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Lestat is gonna be a rock star.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's Queen of the Damned. So I'm surprised, at least from the press release, that's what they said. So I'm surprised that they're doing this that early. I don't quite know if I'm that interested.
I think
they're going to go.
if it's Sam Reed as
into
Lestat, the rock star, you will be.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see that.
It's going to be a different type of petty, and they're messy. It's like Real Housewife of Vampires, and I'm here for it.
I'm just surprised they're doing this that early, but that's
maybe
just
they
my
won't.
bias.
Some people said like that press release had like 8 seasons worth of shit in it, so it might not be completely accurate.
And it may also like, I feel like sometimes they put stuff in there and then, they get in the writer's room and it may not be everything that they want to do, or they may
it'll
just
be interesting how they it'll be interesting how they if they kind of like subvert it. But I mean, I'm not interested in seeing Lestat be Adam Levine for a whole season.
Yeah, no, let's not knock Adam Levine too much now. I mean, we had a good couple of years,
I just feel like
she will be loved now, sir.
Based on these 2 seasons, I have full faith that it's going to be really good, regardless of what the story is. Because I think that they have proved to us that they are telling a story. It may not be exactly what it is in the book or the movies or whatever. Yeah. Which is why I'm a big believer in that we have to kind of just take what we're watching at face value and just kind of evaluate that. But like, I trust them now after 2 seasons of just fucking great episode after great episode, incredible acting, beautiful directing. Like, I really trust that whatever the story it is that they're going to tell in season 3 and beyond they're going to do a great job.
I don't want a musical. I will say that right now.
I give me a goddamn musical, but outside of that, like I want to see the transition of Lestat from this time period to Lestat the rock star. Like, that sounds fine.
I just can't wait to see Lestat in present day.
Yeah.
Like, present day Lestat is like, I need to, but I want to see him like next episode.
Also, like, the fact that like season 3 means somebody, like, I don't want to see Louis in any more depressing ass hoodies. Like, season 1, it was like all the 3-piece suits and like he was just like gorgeous. And then like he met Amon and he started like dressing like a bum and like he's sad all the time, which he is. So like, hopefully season 3 then gives us like a different Louis and a different wardrobe. And that I will completely be here for. So I'm excited for season 3.
Yeah,
it would be interesting. Like, what if they do go? What if the trio that we have goes back to America, and then they just so happen like this motherfucker is in Coldplay.
Coldplay. That explains how they got their album on all our phones. They just glamored somebody at iTunes or some dumb shit. Yeah. But yeah, no.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
But that's it for me then.
That's you? Okay. Any other questions from you, Carly?
No.
Okay. What was next week's title?
Oh, next week's title.
Carly's going to say it.
Oh, am I going to say it? Next week's title is called And That's the End of It. There's nothing else. Episode 8.
Okay, I'm excited.
That's kind of sad though, and that's going to be interesting to see the present day stuff. When I'm assuming that's what Louis says.
Yeah, I hope it's a long episode though.
Me too. This episode was like a minute 5, a minute 2. Yeah? I'm sorry, an hour 5 or an hour 2.
I gotcha.
So I want it to be. Give me 90 minutes of that last episode.
I will love it. I'm here.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's it. That's all we've got for you guys for this episode. I'm gonna just upload this and throw it straight out. You guys might be lucky and get it tonight as I'm watching these way too old men try to run for president again when they should not be. But there's, at the end of the day, I'm not to bring politics in here, but obviously, if are you a Republican listening to me, go jump off a bridge, go somewhere. But like, obviously, like, fucking vote. It matters.
Oh, yes.
They're shades of worse, but common sense. There's one you can convince to do the shit you would like.
There's one that's better than the other. Absolutely. And then there's one that kind of wants to bring us back to the Stone Age. So
work with what you can work with. Like, growing up and maturing is realizing everything is not black and white. And all of that. Anyway, fuck all of that. Lestat was hot. I was here for it. I can't wait for the finale. Send in your thoughts. And we'll come back and do this for one final time this season.
It went back quick. It honestly went back quick, though.
It really did. It did. I don't like it, but I'm also like looking forward to like watching this season again once it's done.
Oh man, I have such a good time just rewatching the show to talk about it every week for like a second time because I see it, differently. I see so like rewatching the season, just sitting and binge watching it is gonna be.
I'm like, we missed that. We missed that. We could have talked about that. And then like, whatever. Yeah. So on that note, guys, Joanne and Carly, tell them where they can find you if you want them to find you.
I'm on Instagram at Carly Vision with a K. That's it.
And no problem. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at JTD. That is JAYTEEDEE. And you can also find the podcast that I co-host with, along with Devin and Jamel. It is called Edit That Out on all podcasting platforms.
And you guys are currently covering House of the Dragon season 2.
We're currently covering this messy ass shit, House of the Dragon.
Another messy show with toxic men I love. Yes.
Look. Otto Hightower. I hate him, but he called Aegon and. He called Aegon and Christian Cole some trifling ass niggas.
Carly doesn't watch House of the Dragon because she likes her sanity.
Well, he said Otto Hightower in the latest episode went to the king and said, "You was a trifling ass nigga."
It's like Amon making a good point and me having to agree with him.
And that was it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so good. So if you're a House of Dragon fan watching this episode, watching this current season, please listen to the Edit That Out podcast.
Yes, I endorse them. They are hilarious. Jamel keeps Joanne in line in a way I never could. So just go listen to that for that alone.
Learn from the best.
Yes. And you guys can, of course, find me on Twitter. It's still Twitter for me. I have not updated that app in over a year and a half because fuck Elon Musk. But TV Movie Mistress, and my personal Twitter, of course, BookDreamer01. But also, please, guys, check out the YouTube page. Like all the fucking videos. I swear I feel like YouTube and iTunes are being racist to my podcast because I refuse to believe we should not be. Like, somebody even said it on Twitter, or on YouTube, like, why aren't you guys bigger than you are? Like, yeah, they said we were hilarious, guys, or something to that.
We funny.
We are fucking funny, and
we old as shit.
Look, we are some funny elder millennials, yo. Carly, you're fun. Stop it, girl. But yeah, so share us, like the podcast, and share it to everybody out there in the street so they can get all these corny ass puns and jokes and debates and all that shit. But yeah, it's always a good time. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll do this again soon. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.